So before I show you my book, I wanted to go through some of these pieces a little bit more and kind of give you an idea. Now, unfortunately, my tripod broke, and I am doing this while holding the phone. So I've only got one hand to actually work with, and so that's not going to help me. I can't get into that, but I can show you this. So you take like the Lane Bryant, for example, because it is like a book, and I apologize now if there's any pictures that should be not seen. I will do my best to keep them off the camera, out of the camera. So this is the book, and it's got 4 pages in it, so it's already put together. Now, I would leave this together. It's already hooked. There's no point in rehooking it or unhooking it as it would be. And then you can add to it from there. So you could take your piece of paper and add the paper here. Okay, so now you've got 6 sheets, different sizes, right? Just move that out of the way. Different size sheets. We have this trifold, which is really kind of cool, that you could put in the middle. And that'll give you a pocket as well as you know, an extra page to open and turn. So when you sew this together, you're going to sew it right here on the seam, which is going to seam all of this into one piece. And then if you don't like it, mix match like this, which I usually tend to not do mine quite this way, but it gives you an idea of how to put the pieces together. And then you can just, mom and dad, or if you're above the age of, or if you're old enough to use a sewing machine, you can sew straight down the middle here. You can hand stitch it, or you can staple it together just to get it so that it'll hold together, so when you go on your walk, you'll have a place to record your memories or put memorabilia pieces or whatever. And that's another thing I'll show you how to do later. But for right now, let me show you what I created. So again, I apologize for anything that's seen that should not be seen, but this is my book. I went back in, I painted some pages, but I didn't paint it all because I want you to see that it really is the flyer pieces that we got in the mail. I mean, this one happens to be half the size of the one that I got, but it's still, that's exactly what it is. So we'll open up this first page, and again, I'm going to turn that camera. If you look at it, you can see that there's a flip here, and then you've got this, but then you have this piece here. Now, the beauty of these pieces is so that you can go back in and add to it. So, for example, because it's just half an envelope, you could add in the card here, and then you would have, you know, this piece that would stick to that, and it would keep it all together. And then you've got artwork on all of these pieces. Or you can just use it as an extra little piece, and as you're out traveling or doing whatever you're doing, you can add things to it later as part of your memories. But as you can see, this is definitely a Lane Bryant catalog. I did paint, like I said, random pieces throughout. This one here, you can see underneath the paint, it is a Yankee Candle piece. It, again, added just a different size and thickness of paper. This is just a brown sheet of cardboard paper. And then this is that other half of that envelope that we were just looking at. And the beauty of keeping that is that you can, you can add things as you go about your day to use later in your journal. Again, this will be so much better when I actually have a camera and can put this stuff up and hold it still and not try to hold it by hand. But that's just one thing. You can tuck items in there and save them as you go on your walk. So if you find a 4-leaf clover, for example, you can put it in there. It'll flatten it so that when you're ready to add it to your book later, you can. So let's go ahead and stand this back up the long way. There we go. That's a little bit easier to see. Again, it goes into the different things that we use. So here, this is Bath and Bodies. We use Yankee Candles. It, again, is more flips for me to add stuff to later. Okay? Lots of flips and tucks and turns. And it goes like that through the whole book. Now, the paint. When you add your paint to your book, it doesn't matter what kind of paint. It tends to do better if you use a matte paint or a paint that doesn't, it's not real shiny. But you can use either. And as you see, I sewed my book. You can see it right here. I actually used the sewing machine. It took 2 seconds, and I just ran it straight down the middle. And if it tears apart, so if you look right here, the seam looks like it's coming apart. In fact, out here, I'll just make it come apart. You can either cut it off, you can leave it there, you can put tape on it. Any of that's going to hold it and let it be used for what it needs to be used for. Here's another page or two, and then a green. And I would show you more, but I am so scared that I'm going to flip it over and show the underwear section that I don't want to do that. So looking at the front, this is shiny. See how it reflects in the light? And this is matte. The matte is probably going to be my front to my catalog. And then what I had planned on using for this, and this is my field journal. My plan is to open this, to fix this so that it'll tuck inside like this, right? And then I have my hair scrunchie that I can put around it to hold it all together. Again, this is really hard to do with one hand, so I do apologize. But I can put my hair junkie around it. That'll hold it together, and it's ready to go. And then I still have room that I can, on this side piece, clip my pen. So I'm not going out of the house without what I need. And with the lines and things from the quarantine getting to be the way they are, if nothing else, it's good to keep your kids occupied, and it won't cost you anything but saving some of your random trash. And as you can see, you could use cereal boxes. Anything can be used, and they can be cut into shapes and glued down, and the kids will have a ball. They're going to have to go with you to some of these things, so you might as well let them have some fun while you're out, and make it a scavenger hunt. Make it, what can you add to your journal? What can you draw? What can you, what can you do? You can take a stone and use it as a stamp. If there's a neat shaped stone, and kids love stones, and they love anything where they get to express themselves. So bring the stone home, use it as a stamp, and then when you're done using it as a stamp, have the kids draw something on it and leave it out for somebody else. Right now, in this time in the U.S. history, any little bit of happiness is a big deal, especially to somebody who doesn't get out often, or who doesn't have a lot of family to keep them happy or to take care of them. And so leaving a little, something as simple as a little painted rock means the world to them, and they can take it home, and then they feel like somebody's thought about them, and it gives them hope. And right now the world needs hope. So whether that's hope for your kids so that they don't go insane, hope for you so you don't go insane, or hope for a complete stranger who's all alone, hope is the whole point. Anyway, I will be back. If you have questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I will show you when I head out on my adventure what we can find to add to my journal. Talk to you soon.